2 players, 2 stories, 1 trophy. Judge, the superstar slugger of New York, versus Raleigh, the underdog catcher from Seattle. This is the battle for MVP. Speech balloon. Please leave your thoughts and analysis requests in the comments section. Sparkles, thumbs up, likes and bell subscribes will help us make our work even more exciting. Rainbow sparkling heart, your support is our greatest strength. Cherry blossom wave glowing star. The regular season is winding down, and with just 1 week left on the calendar, the baseball world is buzzing about one of the most surprising MVP races we've seen in years. Normally, when we think of American League MVP candidates, names like Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, or Jose Ramirez pop up right away. But this year, there's an unexpected twist. Cal Raleigh, the Mariners' powerful catcher, has surged into the conversation. His breakout season has fans and analysts debating whether he deserves to be standing shoulder to shoulder with Judge for the most prestigious individual award in baseball. Aaron Judge is no stranger to the spotlight. After breaking the American League home run record in 2022 with 62 bombs, he set a standard for MVP caliber seasons that seemed nearly impossible to replicate. Yet here we are again in 2025, and Judge has delivered another monster campaign. His towering home runs, his improved defense in the outfield, and his consistency at the plate make him the obvious, traditional choice for voters who lean on star power and proven dominance. But on the other side, Cal Raleigh's story is the ultimate underdog tale. Catchers rarely receive MVP consideration unless they put up absolutely elite offensive numbers, because the physical toll of the position often drags down the production. Raleigh, however, has been the heart and soul of a Mariners team fighting tooth and nail in the AL West. He's not just hitting home runs, he's hitting them in clutch moments that have swung the playoff race. The Mariners' recent sweep of the Astros, in which Raleigh delivered critical blows, has become the defining highlight of his MVP case. Judge represents the superstar narrative. He's the face of the Yankees, the captain, and the kind of player who dominates headlines even when he goes hitless. His presence alone changes how pitchers attack the entire lineup. Every stat you look at, ops, WAR, home run totals, puts him at or near the top of the league. If the MVP is about rewarding the best player in the game, Judge makes the strongest argument. Raleigh, however, represents something else, value in the truest sense of the word. Without him, the Mariners' offense struggles to find rhythm. He anchors the pitching staff with his game calling, blocks balls in the dirt with ease, and then turns around and crushes 30-plus home runs as a switch-hitting catcher. His impact isn't just statistical, it's emotional and cultural. Mariners fans rally behind him, and his leadership on and off the field is undeniable. When we talk about MVP debates, it's often a battle between flash and substance. Judge gives us the flash, highlight reel bombs, national attention, jersey sales. Raleigh gives us the substance, gritty wins, late-inning heroics, and the kind of quiet dominance that only teammates and close watchers appreciate fully. And that's why this race feels so different. One of the fascinating aspects of this conversation is how history weighs on voters. There have only been a handful of catchers in MLB history to win MVP, names like Johnny Bench, Joe Mauer, and Buster Posey. If Raleigh pulls this off, he'd not only put himself in that elite company but also create a moment that cements the modern catcher's value in today's game. On the flip side, Judge winning would further solidify his case as one of the greatest power hitters of his generation, potentially setting him on a path toward Cooperstown as a 2-time MVP. Another wrinkle in this debate is team success. The Yankees are, of course, perennial contenders, and Judge's performance has been a driving force in keeping them near the top of the standings. But the Mariners' playoff push has been one of the most compelling storylines of September, and Raleigh has been at the center of it all. If Seattle sneaks into October because of his clutch performances, voters may be swayed by the narrative of a catcher dragging his team to the postseason. Statistics alone can't settle this debate. Judge has the edge in slugging, home runs, and overall name recognition. But Raleigh isn't far behind, and when you factor in his position and defensive responsibilities, his war and win shares take on added meaning. It's not an apples-to-apples comparison, but that's what makes MVP voting so subjective, and so fun for fans to argue about. There's also the question of moments. MVP voters often lean toward players who create unforgettable memories during the season. Judge has provided his share of massive homers in packed Yankee Stadium crowds, but Raleigh's towering shots against division rivals like the Astros and Rangers may hold just as much weight when fans look back. Sometimes, it's not just the numbers, but the timing of those numbers, that determines an MVP race. Beyond the numbers and moments, this race also highlights the broader conversation about what MVP should mean. Is it the best overall player, no matter the context? Or is it the player most valuable to his specific team's success? If you lean toward the former, Judge is your guy. If you believe the award should reflect team dependency, then Raleigh's candidacy is impossible to ignore. Baseball's beauty lies in these debates. Fans from New York will swear that Judge deserves the crown, while fans from Seattle will argue passionately for Raleigh. Neutral observers can see merit on both sides, which is why the final week of the season feels so dramatic. Every swing, every RBI, every win could tip the scales in one direction or the other. Looking back at Judge's season, the consistency jumps out. Even after dealing with injuries earlier in his career, he's managed to stay on the field and produce at an elite level. His strike zone discipline, his ability to hit to all fields, and his towering power make him a nightmare for pitchers. He has the aura of inevitability. You almost expect him to deliver every time he steps into the box. Raleigh, on the other hand, brings grit. His batting average might not match Judge's, but his power numbers as a catcher are staggering. The switch-hitting element adds another layer of complexity for pitchers, who can't simply exploit a platoon advantage. And defensively, Raleigh brings so much to the table that numbers can't fully capture. The way he controls a game behind the plate is MVP-worthy in its own right. One underrated aspect of this race is leadership. Judge is the Yankees' captain, a title that carries immense weight in New York. His steady presence and calm demeanor set the tone for the entire roster. Raleigh, meanwhile, has become the emotional leader of a young Mariners squad, setting the standard for toughness and resilience. Both players embody what it means to be a franchise cornerstone. There's also the narrative factor. Writers love stories, and the Judge story is one of dominance, of a superstar doing exactly what a superstar is supposed to do. Raleigh's story is one of surprise, of a player many outside Seattle didn't know well becoming a household name. Depending on what kind of narrative voters want to endorse, the outcome could swing either way. The Mariners' recent sweep of Houston cannot be understated. That single series may have reshaped the MVP conversation. Raleigh's fingerprints were all over those games, from clutch homers to managing pitchers through tense innings. If the award is about most valuable, those performances scream MVP. For Judge, the season has been about reaffirmation. After the record-breaking year in 2022, some wondered if he could ever get back to that level. This season has silenced doubters and reminded everyone that Judge is still the premier slugger of the American League. His case rests on excellence sustained over an entire season. Both candidates also symbolize the evolution of baseball. Judge represents the classic power hitter with modern adjustments, drawing walks, punishing mistakes, and putting up gaudy numbers. Raleigh represents the modern catcher, blending old-school toughness with new-school analytics and power. It's almost a philosophical debate about what kind of player we value more in today's game. As the final week unfolds, the pressure will intensify. Every at-bat from Judge will be dissected by the New York media. Every swing from Raleigh will be amplified by Mariners fans desperate to see their hero crowned. The drama of it all makes this one of the most exciting MVP finishes in recent memory. Fans love to compare highlight reels, and in that category, Judge dominates with his massive blasts into the Yankee Stadium seats. But don't sleep on Raleigh's tape. His home runs may not always travel 450 feet, but they've come in the biggest moments, often flipping the script in tight games. WAR, OPS+, and advanced metrics will certainly come into play. Judge might win the statistical war, but Raleigh's defensive war and framing impact narrow the gap considerably. It's one of those rare seasons where the numbers can be twisted to support either side, depending on your viewpoint. Ultimately, the MVP race feels like a clash of two different baseball worlds colliding. The established superstar versus the blue-collar catcher. The East Coast juggernaut versus the Pacific Northwest underdog. That contrast is what makes the debate so compelling, not just for fans, but for the writers who will cast the actual ballots. When history looks back at 2025, this MVP decision will say a lot about how the game values different kinds of greatness. Choosing Judge reinforces the idea that the biggest star on the biggest stage should be rewarded. Choosing Raleigh sends a message that grit, leadership, and all-around impact can outweigh pure star power. As fans, we're lucky to witness it all. 1 week left means 7 more games to shape the legacy of these players' seasons. Every at-bat feels magnified. Every defensive play feels like it could swing the conversation. It's rare that we see an MVP race this tight so late in the year, and that's why the energy around it feels electric. Judge might ultimately take the trophy, and if he does, few could argue against it. His numbers are undeniable, and his superstar status is well earned. But if Raleigh pulls off the upset, it will go down as one of the most memorable MVP wins in modern baseball history. The truth is, baseball thrives on debates like this. It's not just about who wins the award. It's about the conversations, the passion, and the arguments along the way. Whether you're a die-hard Yankees fan, a loyal Mariners supporter, or just a neutral observer, you can't help but get caught up in the excitement. The MVP race isn't just about Judge and Raleigh, either. It's about what we as fans value in the game. Do we put the spotlight on the towering slugger who dominates headlines, or do we celebrate the catcher who grinds through 140 games and still delivers power numbers? That's the beauty of baseball. It allows us to wrestle with those questions. As the season winds down, keep your eyes on both players. Watch how they carry themselves, how they perform in clutch situations, and how their teams respond to their leadership. These little details often stick in voters' minds, even if they don't show up on a stat sheet. 1 week may not sound like much, but in an MVP race this tight, it's everything. A single game could be the deciding factor. A single home run, a single walk-off hit, a single defensive gem could be the moment that tips the balance. Fans across the country will be glued to their screens, not just to see who makes the playoffs, but to see how the MVP race ends. That's the kind of drama baseball provides at its best, individual greatness intertwined with team stakes. No matter the outcome, 2025 has given us a story to remember. Judge and Raleigh have both delivered seasons worthy of celebration, and their battle for MVP will be talked about long after the final out is recorded. And when the award is finally announced, one fanbase will erupt in joy, while the other may feel slighted. But both will know they witnessed greatness in real time, and that's what makes this race so special. So as we enter this final week, let's savor it. Every swing, every pitch, every moment matters. Whether it's Judge launching another moonshot in the Bronx or Raleigh calling a perfect game in Seattle, we are witnessing baseball history in the making. Because at the end of the day, the MVP is more than just an award. It's a story, a legacy, and a snapshot of what made this season unforgettable. And this year, thanks to Judge and Raleigh, that story couldn't be any better.